So a few of you have been asking, how am I getting on with the cheap Range Rover? So if you saw the previous video, I bought this Range Rover for about $3 and I was going to run it for you guys to see how unreliable and painful it is to run an old Range Rover. It's a 2006, 56 plate, done 135,000 miles, has the 3.6 V6 twin turbo. I'm pretty sure they're 3.6, aren't they? Yeah, TDV8 Vogue. We bought it with pretty much no service history from a dealer who had been using it as his tow vehicle. So as I said in the previous video, I did everything wrong as far as buying a Range Rover should be. Sketchy history, know it's been used as a tow vehicle, and it hasn't got the 4.4 V8 in it, which I believe is the more reliable engine. So I've been running it now for about, I'd say, probably, what have we run it for now? I think almost a month I've been running for this. I'll have to double check when I put the last video. Obviously the video came out you know, after I bought the vehicle and run it for a few days. But yeah, I think I've been running for about a month now. I absolutely love it. Can't get out of the thing. Now normally, those who watch the channel regularly know I'm tight as a duck's proverbial. If a car's got fuel in it, if it comes in with 3/4 of a tank, I'll use it because it gives me a good opportunity to try the car out, and it gives me free fuel basically. I always make sure I leave about probably 1/4 of a tank in for the customer, so I don't run it completely dry. But why put fuel into cars if it's come with it free of charge anyway? So yeah, the fact that I'm continuously putting fuel in this only to get 20 miles to the gallon proves how nice a car it is to drive. But obviously, like I say, all you really want to know is how much is broken on it. Well, we're actually in the same position we were at the beginning. In fact, we've actually fixed something. So if you remember, when I got the car, the windscreen wiper stopped working. I've done nothing about that, because to be honest, the priority when it comes to getting work done has to be on sales vehicles, not the thing I'm driving around. So windscreen wiper is still broken on it. I can't remember anything else that was broken. Everything else seems to work. All the electrics, I've tried them up, my cruise control, my electric seats, everything seems to have stayed working at the moment. It is dirty inside and it's dirty outside because, like I said, I've still got a bit of cardboard on the floor that it came with. I haven't put any on the carpet. But yeah, I mean, all good. Everything seems to be working exactly as it should do. So yeah, what did I fix? What I fixed was, well, if you remember again from the last video, so if you haven't seen it, I'll recap for you, is the only thing I found was when I first started it, the idle was slightly uneven and I get a bit of smoke out of the exhaust. Now that cleared, I stopped getting smoke, but I still got a situation where starting it up every now and then we had this slightly uneven idle, and I said in the video at the time I thought possibly it was an gummed up injector or something like that. So I thought, well, rather than go too in depth, and let's just come up with a simple solution. Now I don't normally believe in this, but I thought let's try an additive. Now my issue with additives is I think that if the problem's got too far, the sort of strength of the additives isn't going to be enough to resolve the problem. You'd have to put bottles and bottles of it and drive it loads and loads of miles to clear it out. But I thought I'll do a little bit more research and see if there's anything else I can find that's a bit stronger that might be worth giving a shot. And what I found is this stuff. Now I can't even remember how I came about finding this. I think I was looking on Amazon for sort of additives, and I found this liquid moly diesel purge. Again, like I said, I don't know how I ended up at this versus the sort of standard stuff. I didn't want to use like the Forte cleaner, because by the time you put the 2 bottles in, the turbo cleaner and the diesel system cleaner, it's like 50-60 quid I think to put it in, and I've never had any major success with it. So I found this stuff, ordered it up, and I think this is really supposed to be for buses, trucks and heavy equipment. And I sort of thought, well, Range Rover's heavy equipment, isn't it? So bought the can, had it delivered. I think I got it from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description down below for it. Like I say, I'm going to be clear at this point. I don't recommend the way I use this product. I didn't follow the instructions, and I'll cover that in a second. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to put that out there. Follow the instructions on, if you do get some, follow the instructions on it. But yeah, so it turned up and I looked at the back of the can and I read them, and it said what I actually need to do is disconnect the fuel system and put the pipes directly into this and run it through the engine and so forth, and then reconnect that and move it further down and run it through. And I thought, well, again, I don't have the time. I don't really want to be faffing around with potentially high pressure fuel pipes. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know enough about it. I had less than 1/4 of a tank in the fuel, and I thought, look, if I just bung the whole bottle in with the fuel, it'll do one or two things: either create me a problem or fix the problem. I like to always, if I put these additives in, I always put them in the tanks really low, because again, if you put this stuff in when you've got a full tank, it's so diluted, I don't think it's going to have the effect. So I bunged this in, I ran it for a day, and guess what? Never had the issue again. I no longer get the uneven idle at all. It seems to have, and I want to touch wood while I say it, so I'll touch my head. Yeah, it seems to have completely solved that problem, and it also seems that my sort of analysis may well have been correct, that it was a fueling system, an injector that was gummed up or dirty or whatever. Since then, like I say, it's run like a dream. I can't remember how much this was. It wasn't expensive either. I'll put it on screen. I should have remembered that before I started doing the video. But again, I will stress that that isn't the way they suggest using this product. It's supposed to be used connected in the engine bay to the actual fueling system, or even maybe into the tank underneath, I think. I, like I say, stuck it straight in the fuel can. It doesn't actually tell you to do that at all, but it does seem to have done the job. And the only reason I can think is because this is so much stronger than the stuff they normally do for vehicles. It's so much stronger, and obviously the volume's a lot bigger. I mean, the cans are normally half this size, aren't they? That it was just so strong, it's just gone through and cleaned the entire system out. So far so good. Now the only thing we do have, which has appeared more recently, now when I first got the car, I could tell I had a bit of a knock from the front suspension over here. It's been getting a bit worse, and I've also getting a bit of tramp in that wheel ever so slightly. If I turn a corner tightly, I can feel it sort of tramping a little bit, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase for it. Did a little bit of research, and I found that that does actually tie in with what I think is a problem with the suspension, that once the bushes get sort of totally worn out, it allows the wheel to move a bit more. So I need to, I think there's a top and a bottom arm. I can't quite see them at the moment, but we need to get those checked out and changed out. But again, that will have to wait until the guys have got through my more retail stock. So yeah, so far so good. Other than that, like I say, it's been totally reliable. Always started first time every time. Other than that, sort of a bit of a knock from there. Super smooth to drive. The gear change is smooth. Like I say, I can't get it to do better than 21 miles to the gallon. I think my best so far is 21 miles to the gallon, but that is only driving in the back lanes. I still haven't done anything about the rust on the boot lid. I need to find some time to do that, to tidy that up. Now, I'm not going to say as well that I'd recommend going out and buying an old one with poor service history and higher mileage, because I think these kind of, when you buy cars of this age, it's a total crapshoot as to whether you have problems or not. I've had some nice feedback from you guys, thanks for that in the comments, that I was a bit wrong. Like I said, the 4.4 V8 has always been put to me as the most reliable, but a lot of you say that the 3.6 V8 is reliable as well. You also corrected me and said that you can actually remove the turbos without taking the body off, that it's the sports that you have to take the body off, so that's reassuring as well. My current thoughts are that I'm enjoying driving this car so much that if I did need to drop another few grand into it, I'd quite happily do it, because I've not driven anything so far that for around about 5 or 6 grand would come close to it. So as always, I'm sure you've all got your comments to make, especially on the way I use that product, no doubt. So get them in the comments down below, and I'll keep you guys updated as we go along as to how I'm getting on with it. Oh look, I just fixed something else on the way home. The windscreen wiper, it's just a bit sticky. Worked it back and forth a few times, tucked itself back up there again. So I'll grease that all up, should be alright. So the Morris let me down when I brought it home over the weekend. Left me a bit stranded, but managed to get up to the house. Spent a fantastic Sunday afternoon diagnosing it with Brooke. Absolutely brilliant to be able to spend time with her like that. So we went through everything. I taught her all the things you need to check, like you've got spark, that you've got voltage to the battery, you've got fuel getting to all the filters, that kind of thing. And in the end, we diagnosed a bad coil pack because we had weak spark. The coil pack was getting very warm. So I nipped down to the motor factors first thing this morning, grabbed the coil pack, and she started straight up. So fingers crossed she gets me back to work okay. I've got to stop off at customers and actually check the voltage on their battery, because they're saying they keep getting a flat battery. But those of you that think about buying a classic car to spend some time with your kids and teach them a few things, I just really highly recommend it. What a fantastic way to spend a Sunday afternoon, fiddling around the engine bay with her. And by the end of it, she was pointing to bits going, yeah, carb, air filter, spark plugs, distributor, coil. And through, like I say, through the process of elimination, we worked out together it was the coil pack. So she'll be chuffed to know that was right. I'll have to send her a little video. So we're doing emergency call out in the Morris. We've been called out to the Fiesta we sold a month or so ago. It's been having problems starting. They keep having to jump start it. So before we get it booked in with Moors and so forth, I thought I'll just nip by. I've checked the battery and it's only got 10 volts on it. So what we're going to do is start it up with the jump pack and then check. I think our suspect is going to be the alternator here, isn't it? I suspect. But let's have a look, see. Well, that's strange because we've got, if I can do this one-handed, I think I can, 14. So to me it looks like it's charging. Yeah, that's right, so that is charging. So the question is it dropping while it's sitting here? I might not be able to hang around long enough to find out. Actually dropping when I'm stood here, isn't it? We've got quite a major drain somewhere. Like a minute later and look, it's at 10.5. We've gone down from 12.5 to 10.5 in 2 or 3 minutes. There's a major drain somewhere. Well, that's the limit of my ability, I'm afraid, guys. It needs to come in and start having fuses drawn until we find out where the drain is from. And with the time availability I've got, I don't think I'll be able to do that. So, left him with the jump pack in case he needs to move it in between. I'm just going to nip straight down to Moors and see how soon they can take a look. Luckily, we're just 2 minutes up the road.
What age Fiesta is it?
2009. Oh, yeah. Phil's told me I'm a plank, by the way, and it's probably just the battery itself. So I need to go get a battery.
I never said that, did I?
No, you didn't. You're too polite to say that. You're all too polite round here to tell me I'm an idiot when I tell you my mechanical judgments.
How could you ever say that about this guy?
Right, so I'm going to go and get battery. We're going to go back and swap the battery. Phil's lent me some tools. We're going to get a battery and swap it out and see if that does the job or not. So there we go. The workbench is living up to its name today. We've got everything in the back seat. At least it's not on the roof like Mike used to do. And everything in the front seat. Let's go and see if we can solve it this simply. And the customer won't have any weight. And we should be good to go. This is the nice thing about selling to customers that live close by, is it's a little bit easier to get things sorted. So it could be there's still some kind of a drawer somewhere, possibly. Mm. She doesn't have anything fitted to it, has she? Oh no, that's holding now.
Pretty stable.
Yeah, that's holding steady at
yeah,
around 5.5 watt. The other one was dropping before my eyes. It was going down like 2, 1.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, so I think, sir, I think we just had a bad sell in a battery, possibly.
Yeah.
I didn't get to record all that because the gentleman came back out with me again while I fitted the new battery. But new battery was in. I ran it and obviously it was charging. I then left it for 5 minutes and checked it again and the voltage hadn't dropped. It was at 12.5, I think, 12.54. So the last battery, like I say, by the time I'd done that, it was down massively. So we just stuck a new battery in it. She's at school doing her day job, so hopefully she'll be able to come back today and she won't be down. Have been down more than an afternoon, yesterday afternoon with the car. So, and the workbench is still starting nicely. So all good. Time to get to the unit. Just drop my tools back to Phil, thank him, and then get back to the unit. The guys only charged me £55, I think it was, for the battery. So not costly, and it was quite a bit bigger than the other one that came out. Was a Halfords one, and it was, this one's new one's about that much longer, so a bigger battery. So possibly somebody cheaped out on the battery before. Righto, onwards and upwards. Excuse the strimming in the background, but workbench has got me back fine, and she's just been running sweet as a nut since I put that new core pack on. So ideal. And yeah, like I say, living up to her name really, really well. What I would say to everyone is, whatever your opinions on one of these are, people absolutely love it. They love it for hating it, if that kind of makes sense. I've never driven a car out of everything I've had. I've had the 911, I've had the Firebird, everything. This thing, constantly, everybody wants to chat to you about it. As you drive by, everyone's got a smile, and they might be thinking, oh, weren't they terrible cars, weren't they crap, whatever. But whatever, it doesn't matter, it makes them smile. And everyone's wanted to chat about it. It's absolutely brilliant. And like I say, I mean, its purchase price was worth that day with Brooke alone, to be honest, yesterday, tinkering away with it. You know, at 15 years old, how much more time is she going to spend with Dad? But she was quite happy to tinker away with me and diagnose it. And like I say, when she gets back from school today, she's going to be well chuffed that she diagnosed it correctly.